What if I told you that some of the most common things that we are taught about money are completely wrong? And to be quite honest with you, I fell for some of the biggest money myths out there. And I truly believe that it is one of the reasons that it took me so long to get on track financially. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the biggest myths about money, some of the mistakes that I made by believing these myths, and then also I'm going to be going over how those mistakes that I made helped to shape my views on how I view money today. So if you're following any of the myths that I go over in today's video, it could be one of the reasons why you're not able to get ahead as quickly as you would like. Make sure to stick around because by the end of the video, you're gonna have a completely different outlook on how you view money. Myth number one, saving money is a way to build wealth. Now, this was something that I used to believe, and now that I think back, I'm just like, man, why did I believe that I could save my way to wealth? Here's the problem. There was a time where I had a lot of money in a savings account, and my account was paying me 0.5% of interest. And I didn't realize that my money was losing value every single day because inflation at the time was between 3 and 4%. And I was getting 0.5% of interest in my savings account. So my money was losing value every single day, but I didn't realize that. I was always taught just save money, leave it in the bank, don't touch it. And then once I started to learn about money, I realized that I lost so much opportunity to actually 5, 10, or even 15x my net worth because I could have been investing in companies like Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Google. These are all companies that I invest in today, but if I were investing in them 20 years ago, I would be so much further ahead financially. So believing that one myth that you could save your way to wealth was one of my biggest mistakes that I made. Now, I'm glad I made that in my 20s. I was able to identify that that's not how you build wealth and you're not going to be able to save your way to wealth. And I made the correction. But it did cost me in my 20s because there was a lot of time that I could have spent investing in those blue chip companies in my 20s that would have paid dividends today. Myth number two is investing in my 401k is the only investment that I need to make. Now, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't be investing in your company sponsor 401k. I invest in my company sponsor 401k, and anyone that asks me for my opinion, I advise them that they should as well, especially if there's a match that's on the table. But here's the thing, you have to be able to have things outside of a 401k that you have more control over and more access to, because the fact of the matter is on your 401k or any other type of retirement plan, you don't have access to those funds until you're 59 and a half, unless there's a qualifying life event. But most times, if you withdraw money from that account, there's gonna be penalties involved that you're gonna have to pay. So when I first got my corporate job, the only thing that I did for several years was invest in my company sponsored 401k. But now that I understand finances much better, I would usually advise people to do the following. Number one, if your company offers a match in your 401k, invest up to that match. But I wouldn't invest above and beyond that match in a regular 401k. I would then shift over to a Roth 401k. So if your company offers a Roth option, I would invest in the Roth option after you hit the match. And if your company doesn't offer a Roth option, I would go outside of the company and start my own Roth IRA. So if I wanted to invest 10% of my money into some type of 401k, I would do 5% in my corporate sponsor 401k to get the match. And then I would do another 5% in my Roth 401k or into an IRA. And then if I wanted to continue to invest above and beyond that 10%, I would then start to invest in my own brokerage account. Now, I just talked about how saving so much money cost me, especially in my 20s. I treat my brokerage account like I would treat a savings account. So I go into my brokerage account every single month. I'm investing money in there. And if I need money for whatever reason, then I'll liquidate a position to get the cash that I need. So the money that I need for anything that may arise is maybe 1 to 2 business days away. Now, the reason that I take this approach, again, is because I want my money working for me 24/7. Myth number 3 is debt is always bad. Now, if you're going out and you're taking on consumer debt to buy things that you don't even need, then yeah, I would agree that debt is bad. But if you're buying real estate or you're starting a business, then taking on debt is completely acceptable. I remember a couple of years ago, I worked with someone and we flipped a condo down in the Atlanta area, and I took out some loans to help me to fund that project. And at the end of the day, we both made money on the deal. Had I not taken on some debt, I would not have been able to partner and be able to actually flip that condo and make some money. But here's the thing. We had a plan in place. We understood where the best places in the city were to buy. We understood the price point that we needed to buy at in order to make sure that we can make a profit. And we also understood how much it was going to cost to renovate the condo. And we were able to put together the calculations of the cost to acquire, the cost to renovate, the cost to sell, and then how much our profit would be. We knew that up front. We came very close on all estimates on everything. So the cost of the condo, the renovations, and what we were able to actually sell it for once we were ready to flip it. And we took a very calculated risk. And I think going into debt for that was completely acceptable. I'm glad that I did, because I was able to make a substantial amount of money on that flip that I would not have been able to make if I didn't do my due diligence and take on the debt in order to make sure that I can get the deal done. So being able to make sure that we had a very solid plan in place gave me the confidence to go into debt to be able to actually make a profit. Now, one thing that I would caution anyone that's thinking about going into debt to fund a business or to buy real estate, make sure that you do your due diligence so you have a complete understanding of the lay of the land before you actually go in, sign your name on the dotted line, and put yourself into debt to actually acquire a business or to acquire any type of rental properties or anything like that. Myth number 4 is investing in the stock market is only for rich people. Whenever I was younger, I was always taught, stay away from the stock market. It's like a casino. You put money in, you never get anything out. And for years, I shied away from even learning about the stock market because I just thought it was a scam. Only certain people made money and everybody else lost money. But once I started to study and understand the market, I really started to understand why people had this thought on investing. So I'm going to just give you a quick example of 2 different types of people that invest in the stock market, make bad choices, which ultimately shapes their view on how they view the stock market. So person number 1 goes into the stock market. They invest in Apple, for example. Apple is trading at $100 a share, and this person puts $100 in, and 2 weeks later, Apple goes down to $85. The person panics, they sell, they lose $15. And there's like, I shouldn't have put my money in. I knew I shouldn't have put my money into the market. I lost money and I'll never invest again. Now, hindsight being 2020, this person doesn't understand that markets go up and markets go down. And you're going to have to ride the wave of those ups and downs and stay in the market for the long haul. So had that person decided, hey, it's at $85 now I'm going to invest more money instead of taking it out, they would have gotten ahead had they stayed in the market, but they didn't. Person number 2 gets hyped up about a meme stock. GameStop, for example. They go in, they spend $120 on GameStop stock, and anyone that knows anything about the stock market knows that GameStop is a meme stock and it probably should be trading at $10 a share, if that. But this person jumped on the hype train, got in at $120, and had the hopes of making a lot of money really quick. That stock goes back down to $10. They lose most of their money. They get out of the market. They never invest again. So those types of scenarios always scare people out of the market. So the way that I typically encourage people to start investing is investing in ETFs and index funds, because you don't have to pick individual stocks, and you can invest in industries that you like. So if you want to invest in IT, then you can invest in Vanguard's VGT. If you want to invest in the S&P 500, you can invest in Vanguard's VOO or in SPY. So investing in the stock market only being for rich people was a myth that I fell for back in the day. Myth number 5, if I made a little bit more money every single year, my financial issues would start to go away. I used to think that because back in the day when I was making like 45, if I could get up to 50, 55, 60, that it would really start to help me financially. And it did. Every little bit of money helps. But here's the problem. When I started making more money, I started spending more money as well. See, I didn't have any controls in place. I didn't understand how much money that I needed to invest every single month. How much money did I need to save for a business or for my first house? How much did I need to actually put towards debt pay down? See, I didn't understand any of those things. I would get my paycheck, I would pay my bills, I would put a little bit of money in my savings account, and then the rest of the money was being blown on things that I didn't need. That was my life in my 20s. And for like most 20-year-olds, I think that's their story. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that's their story in their 20s, but it's also their story in their 30s, 40s, and beyond. So yes, while making more money is absolutely fantastic, it doesn't make a difference if you don't know how to manage your money. I know people that make well over $300,000-$400,000 a year and they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it's all because they don't know how to manage their money. So if you can't manage your money when you're making lower amounts, it's not gonna matter when you actually start making more. Myth number 6 is money cannot buy happiness. While there's some truth to that, money absolutely cannot buy happiness. That part is true. But having money gives you the flexibility and the ability to help people around you. Right? You can help family, you can help friends. It helps you buy back some of your time. It can help you to replace some of the tasks that you have to do on a daily basis in order to spend more time with your friends, in order to spend more time working on a business plan or working in a business. So money by default won't make you happy, but it gives you the ability to help others around you and gives you the ability to free up your time to do other things. By default, that can make you happy. It can make you happy if you're able to help your parents, to help your friends, to be able to donate to your local community. Those types of things can make you happy, but it can also make the people around you happy. What do you guys think about some of the common things that we've been taught about money that I covered in today's video? Are you actually doing any of the things that I talked about in this video? Why or why not? Leave a comment down below and let me know.